Hello everyone, today we will do our final project. I'm Ryan and my partner is Wu Yuxuan. I will do the summary and part A and my partner will do the part B and the conclusion. This report will around on problems caused Brexit. First, we will talk about what is Brexit and why it happened. Second, we will talk about what will happen after Brexit. Third is the impact on Canada after Brexit. And at the end, we will talk about possible futures agreement between Canada and the British. Part 8. First, we will talk about what is Brexit. Brexit is the shorthand for British and exit. It means British to leave the EU and change its relationship with the Trade, Security and Immigration Group. After Brexit, the British will not be bound by EU laws and many free trade agreements, such as the EU single market. It has been 47 years since British Formula joined the EU in 1973. The Brexit has been debated in parliament for nearly 3 years. On January 31 at 11 p.m., the British officer leave EU. After this, British will enter a transition period, and this will until December 31. Then we will talk about why Brexit happened. There are three main reasons why British leave the EU. First reason is economic crisis. The Euro and the Schengen Agreement, which were supported to facilitate trade between the Euro's countries, end up contributing to the crisis. Second, refugees were many refugees from the Middle East and Africa. These refugees not only dangerous in cultural environment in Europe, but also occupied the job of high-quality people that should belong to countries. Third is police issues. British has its own Anglo-American legion system, and its legion system is different from that of many EU countries. In the pursuit of EU integrations, the unification of laws is very important, and British is the troubles in here. Then we will talk about long short-term impact of Brexit on the British economic. It will be easy for British to leave the EU, but in practice, it would be difficult to leave it also. In the short term, due to the transition spread and the cost of readjustment, trade and finances will be negative effort. Short-term interviews in the UK is likely to be less attractive after Brexit, but long-term interviews growth will pick up. Then we will talk about the Brexit for the pros and the cons. First, the pros is British is not required to pay the EU's dues. Second is UK could be freed from the EU's protestant and recruitment. Third is UK government will not longer be required to provide loans to EU students who come to study in the UK. Last one is can reduce the obligation of assessment to the EU. And the cons of British is British would not be able to trade freely with the rest of the EU. Second is UK need to reach a new trade agreement with the EU. Third is British reached project will not be funded by the EU. The last one is the British will not be protected by the EU. Now we will talk about the impact of the Brexit on the EU. First, French and Germany gained influence after British left the EU, but policy differences could be hard to resolve. Second, the impact of the EU on global services will be reduced. Third, since the UK is the second largest net contributor to the EU's budget, The UK is expected to leave a big problem for the EU's budget. The last one is whatever British get better or worse in the futures. This is not good for the EU.
Hi, Professor Xu Xuan. I'm going to talk about partly impact on Canada-UK trade relationship. In GDP terms, UK is the fifth largest single nation economy in the world, and Canada's economy is the 10th largest. And in Europe, UK is the most important country for exporting Canada goods and services. On the other hand, Canada is also an important country for exporting UK's goods and services. Therefore, there is a lot of problems need to be solved. After Brexit on March 26, Canada's Social Science and Humanities Research SHRC and the UK's Economy and Social Research have been working on a lot of trade relationship between UK and Canada. Canada's government plans to keep relationship on CETA to ensure the MFN and the right of Canadian citizens. In addition, Canada also try to attract more investment from UK, and because Canada's fundamental funds are strong and it has the lowest net debt on G7. Next is impact on specific industry and business in Canada and UK. The direct impact on Brexit is on Canadian companies that will close trade ties with UK and EU. There are many industry and business will be influenced, such as Canadians auto parts, beef business, something like that. Here's an example for this. It's the Canadian pension plan, CPP. It has about 8% investment, like $20 billion from UK. If the UK wants Brexit, the UK bond will drop the value and it will cause value of CPP fund decrease. If the value of the investment in CPP shrink, it will cause terrible effect about the retirement plan for Canadian people. Low return and retirement fund may cause the Canadian people reconsider the retirement age, which means the unemployment will be increased. And also, the British Airways can offer the bad influence of this, and it will bankrupt Airbus, and the Honda also withdraw the money from the UK. Next is impact on Canada and the CETA trade relationship. Whatever the result of UK and the EU negotiation, Canada and the EU trade is still under term of the CETA, and here it's a graph to show the balance between EU and Canada. The trend, you can see the trend is upward trend that can prove that there's still a good relationship between the Canada and EU on the term of CETA. Next is impact of Brexit on specific Canadian and the EU industry and business. As I mentioned before, there are a lot of Canadian and EU industry will be influenced, like Canadian auto parts and beef business. But first, in Canada, for the Bank of Canada, it may cut interest rate. During the Brexit, it will affect global economy. Especially for the countries that mainly export, like Canada. Second is the main production, import, and export between Canada and EU are like nuclear reaction, aircraft, electronic equipment, and goods. Airbus is also one of these, and Honda is also one of these. Next is, so what type of new agreement is under consideration between UK and Canada? EU has already made agreement with 88 countries, including Canada. Therefore, once the Brexit, UK need to renegotiation with other countries and Canada to keep trade relationship. CETA also provide a good partner for UK that can use to negotiate for keeping trade relationship with other countries. The new agreement is also about the import and export, like goods, service, tax, tariffs. How it will differ from CETA? I think it's mostly same as the CETA, because there's no much different. It still covers the tax, goods and service. As a result, although Brexit caused a lot of negative effects, especially to UK and Canada, the relationship between Canada and EU is still stable, and the UK is working on making new agreement with Canada. Actually, the Brexit is not very terrible for UK, because UK will be free for trading with other countries, but it will depend on how the UK do the new agreement with other countries. Thank you for listening.